finally finished Dragon Age 2 this weekend, and I loved it. I played a female rogue, and I usually stick with a rogue because I like melee-heavy characters and not really into ranged. And although the rogue's second weapon is a bow and arrow, I just find that the rogue's attacks and combos and combat is just a lot more fast-paced, which I like. And plus, as a rogue, I don't have to keep a rogue in my party at all times to unlock chests, so I can do that myself. As you'd probably seen from my preview videos from the 2 times I got to play the game early, I had a lot of, I was skeptical, had a lot of fears that they were going to kind of dumb down a lot of Dragon Age, much like I felt they did to Mass Effect 2. And although some of those fears were confirmed, I felt overall the game still felt like Dragon Age. I wasn't a big fan of the story. I thought the story was a little over the top and ridiculous. I felt a lot more involved in the story in the first one, and I cared more about the story in Origins than in this one. I mean, this one was basically a long, drawn-out, spoilers, a long, drawn-out war between mages and Templars, and we already knew they had a problem, so this was nothing new. And I also thought that as long as the story and a lot of the conversations went, all of the game made you feel like you had a choice. It was one of those types of games that really kind of not really force you, but they encourage you to do the right decision. It's like they'll give you a decision, pick A or B, and they'll say A is the right one, you should do A, but you can do B if you want, but it's the bad choice. You really need to do A. That's not much of a choice at all. So I don't like these games that advertise that they allow you to make decisions, yet they really, really push for you to go one way, instead of letting the game, kind of drive you in the path and decision you want. So I just talked about conversations, and that was my biggest complaint with Dragon Age 2, was the companions they weren't really that important. You remember in Dragon Age Origins where you could, no matter where you were, no matter what you were doing, you could stop and have a conversation with your companion, like a real conversation. You would talk about something, and they'd ask you a question, you'd ask one back, and it had more of personality, and you really developed like these emotional relationships with these, fictional video game characters, but you actually really developed, you cared about these party members, because you got to know them, you really conversed with them at any point. Well, Dragon Age 2 definitely went the route of Mass Effect 2 with their party members and the companions. You really couldn't talk to them. Unless it was a mission, it was time for them to talk to you. You couldn't walk up to them and have a conversation. If you tried, they would just tell you not now, or there's other things we need to concentrate on. You really actually didn't get to know them much outside of missions. The game would always prompt you and tell you when you needed to go to Meryl's house, or you needed to go see Aveline in the barracks and stuff like that. It always told you when it was time to go talk to your party members. And that was one of the biggest things I hated about Mass Effect 2, other than the lack of inventory, was that the party members didn't feel real, I guess. I know that's a weird thing to say. It's a video game. Of course they're not real. But come on. If you played Origins, you really got to know those party members, and you really started to like them. You knew that Sten, was super serious and angry all the time, so you couldn't talk to him the same way you talked to, Leilani. She was sweet and more peaceful, and so you interacted with all the characters differently. That's not the same in Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2, no matter who you talk to, no matter what you're doing, you pick the green nice icon in the conversation wheel, you're going to get respect points, you're going to get friendship points, and everything's going to be okay. Which it still plays into the fact that you're not giving much of a decision at all. I don't know, I can go on for hours about this. I hated the party members, aspect. The party members, even then, they weren't even that personable. I gave them a gift, and no matter how high my friendship was with them, it could be maxed out. I give them a gift, and they acted like I just gave them a bag of dog poo. Just not enough attention or heart went into the companions and the party members, which really broke my heart because they were my favorite thing about Dragon Age Origins. I was happy that they kept inventory system in there, except for your party members. Again, they kind of went the Mass Effect 2 route and just had something that you could upgrade instead of really customizing. You could customize yourself, your armor, your weapons, your trinkets like rings and necklaces and stuff, and your belt, just like in the first one. But the party members were different. You couldn't change their armor. You could buy or randomly find upgrades to their armor, but you couldn't really, you couldn't really customize it. You still could do their rings and their necklaces and belts and their weapons and everything like that, which made me forgive them that they simplified the party armor down so much. I would have rather had a full inventory system for them, like in Origins, but since it was just their armor, I'll forgive them. But you guys, Dragon Age 3, don't you dare make there be no inventory system and it's all just upgradable. Don't you dare. The best thing about Dragon Age 2 was definitely the combat. The combat it was one thing that everybody complained about from Origins. Everybody bitched about the combat, and everybody bitched about the graphics. Graphics don't make a good game, and graphics shouldn't destroy a good game. Just because it's not pretty doesn't mean it's bad, so quit bitching about graphics all the time. Graphics are a plus. It's kind of like, I don't know, have you ever dated anybody that wasn't that hot? Or maybe the person you're dating now isn't as hot as somebody you dated before? That doesn't mean you love them any less. It just means you can see them for underneath the prettiness, and you should be able to do the same for games. So, yeah. But anyways, Dragon Age 2 did look better for everybody out there. It did. It looked a lot better. And the characters even looked better. And the environments looked better, so everything looked better. But, back to my point. Combat was awesome. I loved all the special moves. It was a lot just more bloody and gory and much more violent and just brutal, which of course I love. But, that being said, the environments, although they did look really good, they were so repetitive. Every house interior looked the same. Every cave looked the same. And that was really, really depressing. There was no variety at all in any of the inside corridors or interior of anything. It was all generic and the same, which, yeah, was sad. So I'm working on my way through a second play of Dragon Age 2. I'm going to be a warrior female this time, and I'm going to be trying to be as mean or angry as I can. I'm definitely going the more pissed off route this time. Overall, Dragon Age 2 was a great sequel. Yes, they probably destroyed my favorite part of Origins, which was the companions. But they did upgrade a lot of it, and they did make things feel a little more open world, which I liked as well. But, it is very buggy right now, and don't get mad at me if you made it through the game without any bugs. I don't understand you guys that yell at me if I talk about a game being buggy, and you're like, my copy wasn't buggy, what are you talking about? You should be glad yours wasn't buggy. I'm the one that should be mad that mine was. But, anyways, first act, not buggy. Second act, there were some missions in there that even though you would complete, they wouldn't show up complete, or an NPC you needed to talk to do a mission wouldn't spawn. Not too many. If you look on the official forums, there's a lot of people talking about the bugs and everything. There's not too many in the second act. Third act, though, is riddled with them. There are so many missions that can't be completed, they can't be started, and a lot of these you don't even know you're missing if you don't look at the forums or if you don't really explore, because there are a lot of missions or some missions that are hidden that you don't know about because they're not going to show up in your mission log unless you go find them. And you have to go personally, like go backtrack to areas you've been before, and then you'll kind of stumble upon somebody, you'll kill them, and then a mission will open up. And if you're only sticking to what's in your quest log, then you're going to miss some of these hidden missions, and a lot of the hidden missions are the ones that are broken. And if you got the limited edition with the Exiled Prince DLC, you'll notice that those achievements aren't unlocking either. And there's some achievements in the normal game that aren't unlocking for most as well. And if you go to the official forums, BioWare is aware of this problem. They are working on it. But from a lot of things I've read, it looks like the achievements not locking are on Microsoft's end, not on BioWare's end. That's where the problem is. So, I don't think achievements not unlocking for Dragon Age 2 is high on Microsoft's list of things they need to fix. So, hopefully we'll get it soon, but I wouldn't be waiting or holding your breath too long on that. So, we'll see. Oh, and another weird thing to complain about, and this is a weird thing, and yeah, I probably shouldn't be bitching about this, but the sex scenes were so lame compared to the first one. Come on. Really? They were really watered down, really PC, and just lame. Ugh. In my first playthrough, I slept with Isabella first, and then I ended up sticking with Anders. I think for my second playthrough, though, I might just try to stick with Isabella all the way through. I don't understand a lot of you guys on Twitter and Facebook, your obsession with elves, especially Meryl. I think elves are a little bit too childlike for me. I mean, they're short, they're skinny, they have the big eyes, they look prepubescent. And come on, Meryl was like babysitting a naive 12-year-old. So, looking on the forums and Twitter and Facebook, there's a lot of people really getting off on that Meryl chick. And I gotta say, it's a little creepy. Just a little creepy. Because, yeah, elves kind of remind me of children. So, yeah, you might want to look into that. But I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. You know, each his own. I'm going to stick with humans. You can stick with elves or dwarves or anything you want. So yeah, if you liked Dragon Age Origins, I definitely recommend Dragon Age 2. Absolutely. Just don't expect for me, a really deep storyline, because I didn't think it was very deep at all. The dialogue wasn't bad, though. And definitely don't expect the level of companionship with your companions that you had in the first one. They're really kind of static, and they don't have extremely different personalities, and they don't stand out as much as in Origins. So you're not going to be getting, you know, too attached to anybody. Like in Origins, I'm still totally in love with Alistair. So there was nobody in 2 that was like Alistair or Morrigan or Leylon. It just, they had more personality in the first one. But you can expect a lot more tweaked and better combat system. And, yeah, expect hours and hours of gameplay, because this game is very long, especially if you go through all the side missions as well. You'll have a great time with it. I'm excited for any and all the DLC that's going to be coming out for it. I'll be getting them day 1. And leave in the comments what you guys thought about it. And, who are you guys romancing? I want to know who everybody out there is hooking up with in Dragon Age 2. Also, tell me, spoilers just a little bit, who'd you side with, Templars or Mages? My first way through, I sided with Mages. They kind of force you into it. They kind of let you know that, yeah, you're going to be screwed if you try to side with the Templars. But, my second playthrough, I'm going to be siding with the Templars to get that achievement. But yeah, let me know, guys, and thanks for watching. I need to interrupt this real quick for a visitor. Now, I don't have a dog, as you guys know, I have a cat, but I am babysitting a puppy for a friend of mine. I gotta show you this dog. Meet Jersey! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! He's a little puppy French bulldog. He's got so much energy right now because he just woke up from a nap.